Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. You're all welcome to another edition of our program Transforming Grassroot Football and Players. Today is another Wednesday. I want to welcome everybody to today, a wonderful Wednesday, a rainy Wednesday. And I would say it's another show for we to educate ourselves. And want to use this opportunity to see how many people we're going to be having on our platform today. I want to welcome Mr. Akeem of FEMAC, Mr. Eva Mutu. Thank you for watching, and everybody that is also joining the platform. So if you're actually just joining, please kindly say your location and where you are watching from. Sorry, today I have to do this on the road. Today I have to do this on the road. Today I have a lot of meetings to attend and all that. So, but we must continue with our show. Today we will be having our guest from Portugal, Mr. Pedro, who is a UEFA consul, a Prono Bono in the UEFA consul. He works directly with UEFA on players matters and club matters and all that. So he's going to be joining us today, and today we're going to be speaking about player transfers, solidarity, and all that, and also solidarity mechanism. I don't know if you all are hearing me. Please, I want everybody to say hi. If you're hearing me, please say one. I don't know. Can everybody hear me, please? If you are hearing me, please say one. Please write one if you are hearing me, please. Let's be sure before we invite Mr. Pedro in. Mr. Akin, if you are hearing me, please write one, please, if you are hearing me. We want to be sure everybody is hearing me. Okay, thank you, Chukwuebai. Okay, thank you. Everybody is hearing me. Thank you. Please, if you are just joining, if you're hearing me, Mr. Igwe, please, if you are hearing me, please say one. Mr. Kenneth. Okay, thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to be inviting Mr. Pedro in. He's also waiting. Mr. Pedro is a UEFA sport lawyer. He works directly with UEFA and also has worked with so many clubs and players in around the world. So he'll be joining us now. So I think I want to add him now. I want to use this opportunity to welcome everybody who is joining. Mr. Jonas, thank you for joining, and every other person who is joining. Mr. Pedro is also coming in now. Oh, Mr. Pedro.
Hello, how are you? Sorry, but I have a little problem, technical problems, and I have to put this on the iPhone, so I think that the connection is not very good, but we try like this.
Yeah, okay, but can you hear me clearly?
Everything fine with you?
Yeah,
family?
I'm doing very well. I'm doing very well. Good.
How you are passing with this COVID situation? Everything fine?
We're trying to stay safe. And you?
Yeah, here we are already in this confine, but we are back to the streets again, and everything I think under control. We hope that we don't face a second wave. Let's see.
Yeah, we hope everything we're gonna be okay from now.
Yeah, we hope so.
Yeah,
we hope so.
So I want to welcome you to our platform. This is Transforming Grassroot Players and Football in Nigeria. And this is a platform where we use in educating grassroots players, coaches, and proprietors of teams.
Yeah, I know a little bit your work. You are a very important person there to help the kids to face future in life. Congratulations for you. I remember your work in Lagos, and I think that you have accomplished your task in the
Yeah,
society. Congratulations.
thank you very much. So everybody who is watching, we have Mr. Pedro. Sorry, your surname is very long. I can't pronounce it.
Yeah, it's fine.
So we have Mr. Pedro. He's a Prono Bono with UEFA, and he's also a sport lawyer, players, and also agencies around in the world. And we're having him on our platform today. And today we're going to be discussing about grassroots players, transfer, solidarity and compensation fee, and how it actually works and all that. Mr. Pedro, this is a platform, like I said, we use in educating players, coaches, and all that. We're getting a lot of, oh, Mr. Pedro is not here. Okay. I'm trying to add him back. It's come up now. Okay. So, Mr. Pedro, like I was saying, this platform is a platform that we use in educating grassroots players, most especially because they are the actor. We educate coaches and also proprietors of teams, that's owners of teams, about how we can take grassroots football from the level it is to another level. And we've been having a lot of good feedback from the inception of this program. And we've had a lot of series of good feedback from our first program. We had about 3,000 views or more. Yeah, and since then we've been having a lot of good feedback. So that is why we say, okay, we have to bring you in. So, Mr. Pedro, I want you to tell us more about yourself so that the audience watching will meet you.
Okay. As you said, I'm a lawyer. I work on sports since 2006. Now, since last year, I work as Pro Bono Counsel for UEFA, and I work with several clubs here in Portugal and around the world, and some Nigerian too. I help them to finalize their business here in Europe, and we try to track their rights about the formation rights and the solidarity fees that they have right to receive, and not always the clubs want to pay. As you know, I traveled to Nigeria several times to see.
Yeah, we'll discuss about that. Wait, we're gonna discuss about
Okay,
that.
we say that later. Okay.
Yeah.
And I like football, and because I don't have good foot to play, to touch the ball, I have to be on the football business with my head, because no foot. No food, so I have to find a way to keep me in touch with the ball, and find this way to help people doing business in football. You know that football now is a business. We know that from the grassroots point of view, it's a kind of education at first. The importance to take the people from the streets, to find them a way to help them, and to learn to live in community, to help the guy next to him, and to work like a team. That is the beginning of everything. And then when they have skills and they have some luck, of course. That it's everything fine that give a top player. They can make a future football, and what we do is to help them, these people, work and come to high level. That's what my aim and my objective in the football law.
Yeah, I would say that is a very good introduction. Thank you so much, Mr. Pedro. I don't know if anybody is hearing me. Please say I. It's like maybe I don't know if my mic is okay.
Yeah,
Can you hear me, Mr. Pedro?
from me is good.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
hearing from.
Okay. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay. Like on our platform, yeah, it's a platform not just for only football. It's also for entertainment, music, food, and everything. Being someone who has been to Nigeria, what is your favorite Nigerian music that you listen to, if you have it?
I don't know if the name is correct, but since I know African players and even in Europe, when I enter their cars, they are always listen one that is. Take my money from I think it's Chaka Chaka or something like this.
Shaku Shaku.
Always, I remember one time in Switzerland, I entered in a car of a player, and you will always listen these guys. And I remember that when I go to Nigeria or Ghana, they always I think it's a very popular singer, and we always listen this kind of music there. Um, you know that I am from Mozambique. I born in Mozambique, so I have African African blood.
African roots.
I like. I feel very good there. I a lot of states and never find problems there. I have very good friends there that when they come to Europe, they always visit me. And we both many.
Oh, okay, that's fantastic. Uh, can you hear me?
Yeah. For me, it's good.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Uh, like it's very good. Like you have African background. So since you've been to Nigeria before, which of the Nigerian food have you tasted, and which one do you like?
Normally, when we go there, we only eat two dishes.
Traditional food, please. Not
What
not
we eat normally is in the morning we eat chicken and rice,
no
and
no
in
no
the
no no traditional food.
I go there. But normally, what we eat there is in the morning we eat chicken and rice, and in the dinner, to be different, we eat rice and chicken. But I already taste your stews. Pepper soup. One time I eat in Lagos. Yeah, there in Lagos, I tried to eat pepper soup, but it was too much for my stomach, and it was very impossible. Only with a beer there to to calm my stomach because it's too spicy, the food there.
No, okay. That's fantastic. So you've not tasted any of the Nigerian food.
No, I taste it, but it's too much pepper on it, and for us, it's not easy to eat a dish, a complete meal.
Pepe.
So normally we go by the fish and rice, and it's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Can you please give me 1 minute? I want to try and fix my mic because they said that my voice is echoing. Please, just 1 minute, please. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Can you hear me, Mr.
For me, it's good.
Okay, okay, I can hear you. It's like the network is very bad. That is why my voice is echoing. So for everybody watching, please, I want to apologize. It seems it's the network. So I don't know if everybody is hearing me loud and clear for everybody that is watching. Please, if
For
you are
me,
hearing me, please say one. Say one. If you are hearing me, please.
it's good. It's good.
Oh, okay. 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 Let's go on.
Okay.
Okay. Can you please tell me your encounter with the grassroots football in Nigeria?
Yes. We normally when I go with some the agents that they bring me there to help them to finish the contracts from the players that they saw. We go see the players with the age that they can travel. As you know, they only can travel to Europe with when they have majority with 18 years. So when they make the tournaments, normally it's to see players with 17, 18, and 19 years old. Of course, that we see and we try to go to see the grassroots because it's there that everything begins. And we try to go and to see how they perform, how they train. We know that the conditions are not very good. I think that they are improving that too. But we try to go and to interact with the boys from very young so we can follow them to see the evolution and when they have age to come to travel to come to Europe to play, we have already some signalized. Um, you know that in most of parts of in Nigeria, it's a strange situation when we deal with the boys because we see a lot of difference between the train facilities that they have and the ones that we provide here in Europe. I think that what we have to improve there is the facilities, give more conditions to the boys so they can really improve and become better and better.
Okay. That's true. Can you tell me? Can you tell us what states have you actually visited in Nigeria?
Yeah, I went to Abuja. Normally we go to Abuja and to Lagos. We go to Kaduna too, and we went to.
Are you there, Mr. Pedro?
Sorry, we went to Taraba State in the interior, and we went to Owerri.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was a very nice, a pleasant. We stayed there 3 or 4 days. It was a very nice place to, and we see a lot of good players there too. But for me, my personally, but I'm not scouter, okay. But for me, I think the best ones are in Lagos for sure because most of them when they have some quality, they come to Lagos and. We find better players and more prepared players in Lagos than in the other places.
Okay, because that is why they say Lagos is center of excellence. Lagos is where everything is happening.
And the people from Lagos.
Can you hear me? Mr. Pedro, can you hear me? Can anybody hear me? Please, if you are hearing me, please say two. Please write two if you are hearing me, please. Okay, I want to try see how I can invite in Mr. Pedro back. I don't know. It seems the network is very bad. That is why it's echoing. Pedro back. It seems that of his place too is not. So I'm trying to see how to invite Mr. Pedro back. Okay, he's on. He's coming back. I want to welcome everybody who is just joining. This is a Transforming Grassroot Football and Players. Okay, welcome back, Mr. Pedro.
Yeah, sorry, but I'm doing this by my iPhone, and every time that someone calls, they cut the connection.
Yeah, I get. Same here too. No problem. So, let's go into the business of the day. Today we are discussing about transfer fee, compensation fee, and solidarity mechanism. What is transfer fee as a sport lawyer?
As you know, last year FIFA revealed that was a record year in terms of how of the money that the football has made as business. We have spent more than in the transfer market more than 7.35 billion of dollars invested in a way or another. So we have a lot of money circulating because now, as you know, the top players, they are always moving from a club to the other. The transfer fee is the amount that one club pays to the other club to release the player and bring to them to the new club the player. As you know, the FIFA wants stability of contracts. They preserve a lot the stability of the contracts, and to break this stability, the club that want a player, they have to pay to the other, so he let go the player, and the player move to another player. This is the money that you become from a transfer fee. This is the value. Of course, that the transfer fee, the solidarity fee is connected with this transfer fee, because in each transfer that you have, 5% of the total amount of the transfer fee has to be distributed since the 12 years old until the 23 years old, educate and form the player. And they have
Uh, we're gonna try to see to bring in Mr. Pedro back. Sorry guys. If everybody who is watching, I want to welcome live from Portugal, Mr. Borg from Sweden, the president of Dream Stars, Mr. Abe from Estonia. I want to welcome everybody who is on the platform today. We are having some difficulty with our Mr. One Game Changer. You're also welcome. Welcome everybody. Trying to see to inviting back Mr. Pedro. The network is kind of very faulty today.
Hello.
Okay, yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
So I'm saying that the solidarity fee is the part that.
Yeah, we're gonna discuss about that. We're coming stage by stage.
Okay.
Yeah,
Then we
yeah.
have
So
this, but the transfer fee and the solidarity fee are very connected one with the other, because if you don't have transfer fee, you don't have solidarity fee. Okay.
okay, no problem. We'll get to that. So in the transfer fee, like you said, it works between two clubs.
Yes, between two
Yeah,
clubs.
like a negotiation fee between two clubs
Yes, between
for
two
them to
clubs.
agree on a particular player.
Yeah, because when the second club want a player from another club, they have to pay the first club to release the obligation of the contractual obligation that the player have with the first club. So they have to pay him a fee that they agree between themselves to let the player go to the new contract. Then they have to sign a new contract, a new labor contract with the player, so they can pay them.
Okay. Okay. Do we have any criteria that works with the transfer fee?
No,
Like there's a particular criteria.
the criteria is the interest of the club. Of course, that when you have depending of the how long the contract that you are offering to the boy, if it's too long, the transfer fee is more high. You have the age of the player because, well, of course, they want to pay a high transfer fee on a player that you don't have time to resell again the player. So normally the question is the age, the interest, and the duration of the contract that you will sign with the boy. That is the three points that bring and that make finalize the negotiation on a transfer fee.
Okay, so the criteria as the age, the duration of contract, and the number of years you want to work with the player.
Yeah, and the interest that you have in the player,
Uh,
of course. You know that if it's a player that for you or for your coach that you think that it's suitable for your team, that you think that it will score many goals because he scored many goals in the preseasons. Of course, you have to you will pay more. It's the law of offer and demand. If you want really bad something, you pay more than if you don't need it. Of course, if you have two strikers and they offer you a third one, and you have to pay a lot on this on this third striker, you will not pay too much because you already have two. So
yeah.
you have not necessity of this good in commerce. Understand? So this is it's like the law of offer and demand. It's the same. This is the important thing that they balance is the interest that you have in a player, and then you put the age of the player because when you are transfer a player until 24 years old and you know that you have 5 years to try to resell him, you can pay a little more than if you have the player have 32 and you know that nobody will buy a player in 6 years, understand? So in the future. So this is what they balance the boards of the clubs to decide and to fix the money, the amount of the transfer fee.
Okay, that's really fantastic. So it's all about you applying the law of demand and supply. Uh,
Like this. You know that most of the teams they have to get two goalkeepers. Of course, everybody wants a renowned goalkeeper that they say I would like to have this goalkeeper. But if I already have two, I don't pay a lot of money to bring this for me because I already have two. But if I don't have if I don't have any, of course I will pay more because I need more this position. Understand? So this is always economy. That's why I spoke in the law of offer and demand.
okay, that's fantastic. So, Mr. Pedro, so what is training compensation, and also how does it how do teams entitled to this training compensation, and what's the duration?
Okay, you have two different types of training compensation. You have the first one the clubs that make the first professional contract with a player have to pay to the previous clubs that give education and training to the player. And you have, when you professionalize a player, you say, okay, now the formation terminates. He can live on this. He is a professional player now. You give him a professional contract. You have to pay to all the clubs that give him formation since the 12 years old until the 23. You have to pay the training compensation. And you have another different training compensation that only pays when a player moves from a confederation to another. When a player moves from Africa, from CONCAF, so from CAF to UEFA, or to bring from Brazil to UEFA, you have to pay training compensation if the player, even if the player is already professional in the previous confederation, but because he is he is bring to a new confederation, and then you have to pay. What the rules say is that you have to pay to the previous club, the last club that the player was, but FIFA DRC is giving decisions to pay to all the clubs that training the player. But this you can do this only if even if your contract with the player terminates in the end of the contract. Imagine that you have a contract with a player with 21 years old, and the contract finish, and then in the end of this contract he moves to Europe. You have the right to claim training compensation because of this. That you don't have if he stays on the on CAF on the CAF country. Understand? This is the two different kind of training compensation that you have. Normally, it's go until the rule is that you have the right to claim it until the 23 years old of the player. But in some cases, if you can prove that the formation is already done before that.
Can you? I can hear you.
Sorry, I think you passed it. You only can request training compensation if you resist
Sorry,
it.
I can hear you.
Now it's better.
Yeah, better now. Yeah.
Okay, I'm saying that you only can request the training compensation if you register the boy in your association and you have the boy registered there, because you have to prove with the sportive player passport that he was registered by you and how many days he was registered by you. I think that it's one of the problems in Africa is that is normally the boys they play in academies, but they are not registered in the federation, and they have a lot and lose a lot of money on because of this, because they cannot prove with the standards of proof that FIFA demands that they give education and training to the athlete.
Okay, that's really fantastic for me, Mr. Pedro. So, what way can an academy show to UEFA or to FIFA that a player is registered to them?
Yeah, you have to request to your federation the proof that he is registered there. You have a document that they call the sportive passport of a player, where they have registered all the time that he is registered in all the clubs. That's
Okay.
what I'm saying, that normally when you don't make competitions that are organized by federations, you don't register the player, and you play with them in particular tournaments, and that kind of you have no in the future you have no proof that he was registered with you, and you give him the training compensation. You cannot prove this without witness or without photos or without videos. You cannot prove the training and education that you provide to that from this way. Only with inscription on the federation, that proves in the sportive passport of the athlete that proves the number of the days that he is registered with you.
So now, for a player, for you to claim on to have a claim on training compensation, you have to register the player on tournaments by the federation.
Yeah, you have first to register the player on the federation, and then when he moves and they terminate the contract that you have with the player, the, another club or another academy can register. Then, when you have a situation that the player moved to Europe, for instance, you can go to your federation and request the sportive passport, and you see there all the teams, all the academies, and all the periods that each of academy that give education and training to the athlete, and the right that they have to play. Depending on the age that you provide the training, you have more or less rights to claim. The percentage is not equal in each age. The first age is the percentage is less, and the age is more. After the 16 years old, it's higher. So you have to calculate the number of days of that you have registered the player in your team, and with this you calculate the percentage that you have right to claim on the formation rights or in the solidarity fee.
Okay, fantastic, Mr. Pedro. Fantastic. You said something the other time. You said uh, an academy can claim training compensation on a player that is moving to another association,
Another confederation, association.
another confederation. Yes, even if there is no transfer fee involved.
Yeah, even if not transfer fee. That's why I started to say that solidarity fee is very connected with the transfer fee, and don't put compensation with the transfer fee, because it's two different aspects. The solidarity
Okay.
only if you have transfer fee you can request, and you can request each time you have transfer fee without limit of age. So if you pay with a 35 years old player, you have to right to claim the transfer fee, your part of the solidarity fee. The formation rights is not the same. It's not connected with the one part of them. The first kind that I spoke, you have connection with the transfer fee. Each time that you transfer a boy until the 23 years old, you can claim the formation rights, or you can claim it when a boy transfer from a different confederation to another, or when you professionalize the boy from the first time.
Oh, okay, fantastic, fantastic, Mr. Pedro. For everybody who is just joining, we have Mr. Pedro from Portugal. He's a Prono Bono of UEFA. He works with UEFA. He's a sport lawyer and also works with several agencies and also clubs in Europe and also players. So if anybody who is having any question to ask him, you can kindly drop your questions so that he can give his answers about it. So, Mr. Pedro, what is free transfer of a player?
Yeah, the free transfer of a player is when a player terminates contract with a club, and then he moved to another club, but without any compensation because the contract expires. He became free from a contract with a club, and then he moved to another club, but without no transfer fee. That's what we call a free transfer, free player, when he have no contract with another club, and then he join another club in the same federation or not. As I said before, if that free transfer from a player, but that involves a different confederation, then you have the right to claim the training. Not you don't have the right to claim anything, not training compensation, not solidarity mechanism, nothing. Because as I told you before, the solidarity mechanism is always connected with the transfer fee.
Okay, okay. That's fantastic. Then the solidarity fee, Mr. Pedro. Like we know the compensation fee. The compensation fee is when you are 23 years. How long does the solidarity fee takes for you to take as a team?
You only to demand in FIFA you only have a 3 years period to claim. After passing 3 years, all your rights are prescribed. I don't know if it's like this the term in English, but you have no right to claim anymore. If you pass 3 years after the fact, you cannot you cannot claim anymore. Now with the clearance house that the FIFA is preparing, all this will be more easy because it passed to be obligation of FIFA to contact as soon when they have someone registered on TMS transfer. They always send by the for the TMS of the previous teams a note so they can say they can really know that they have right to claim something. In the past, this don't happen, and you have to be on alert with the players that you form to see when they move if you have right or not to claim anything. Now it will be more easy. If the clubs are registered, the academies are registered on the federation, and if they register the boys on the time that they have with them. That is very important now. From the now and in the future will be more important that you have your academy officialized by your federation, registered in your federation, and you register all the contracts and all the time of the boys that you have with you.
Okay, okay. I think that's very explanatory. Mr. Pedro, uh, you've said so much about the compensation, the solidarity fee, and also transfer fee. Sometimes in contracts, that is what is called add-on. How does those add-on on contract? How does it work?
Let's see. You can voluntarily change the obligations between the parts in a contract. Normally, the solidarity mechanism is the team that they are paying for the boy. They are paying the transfer fee. They have the obligation to pay to the teams that formate the boy the solidarity mechanism. But you can put on the contract that this obligation is from the club that will receive the money. If the club that receives the money gives the money to the clubs that have the right to receive the solidarity mechanism, it's okay. But if not, you don't have the third parties, in this case the club they are not bound to the contract that the parts that make the transfer fee sign. So what you have to do is to request to the club that pays the transfer fee, and then the club of that pay the transfer fee have to pay to you, and then between themselves they have to or not to certain the values between them. But the rules are that ones. If you can change the rules if everything go fine. If someone fail an obligation, you have to claim from the club that always pay the transfer fee. I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Fantastic. Fantastic. That is fantastic. Okay. You've said a lot. You've said a lot, Mr. Pedro. So now, for a young player who is going through a new contract, what are the things he needs to know before signing a new contract with a new club?
Yeah, that have, but the most important things that you have to be careful is the question about the money that you will receive, the wage that you will receive. This is the most one of the most important things, and the duration of the contract. This many two aspects that are very important for them. Another thing that is very important, and most of the people don't see at the first sight the importance of this, is the question about how you deal in a situation of crisis. Of course, what is the governance law that will apply to this contract, and what is the where you can claim your rights between if you will have to do it in the country that you are signing the contract, if you can go to FIFA, if you have to go to a local DRC or something like this. It's very important that the people, the players learn that it's easier for them to choose FIFA as DRC as the government body that rules the relation of the contract. Uh, because they are not so tied as local law. Understand? You cannot. You imagine that you go play and make a contract in Afghanistan. You don't know the labor. But if you choose in your contract that you will apply the rules of FIFA, and that the body that will solve any problem is FIFA DRC, you know that you know the rules because they are the same in Afghanistan, that they are in Nigeria, that they are in Portugal, and and you have you know that you have someone, a body that is independent, and that they will look for your case in a serious way and decide making justice. Sometimes you know that it's not easy. I talk in Afghanistan, but we can talk in other countries. But in Afghanistan, it's not easy that a foreigner player can face a great club from there and put them in court and try to prevail their rights. It's difficult. But if you go to FIFA, for FIFA don't care if the club is higher or not, and the player is. For them, what they want to know is what's happened and how the situation will solve with the RSTP in mind.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. That's fantastic, yeah, Mr. Pedro. I want to ask you one important question, and which is I think we discussed with someone, and which is an important question. Does FIFA actually grassroots teams in grassroots teams generally? Let me don't say in Africa, because we have grassroots teams all over the world. In terms of transfer, what is the hierarchy between grassroots teams and professional teams in terms of hierarchy in transferring of players? Because we have so many situations whereby you see a grassroots team in Africa or in Nigeria saying they lay claim to a particular player, and a professional team will also tell you they own the player. In terms of hierarchy and acceptance, which of them will FIFA accept more, and what
No,
can what?
all the FIFA that take cares now is they are trying to see football in a different aspect now that they see on the past. They see, as I told you, we are talking about 7.5 billion of euros that of dollars that you have in the transfer market in the last year. So what they are seeing is that part of this money they have to go to the grassroots and to the academies that allow the boys to become what they are now. This is the main one of now. But they can only do this if the academies are registered and if the boys are registered on the teams. And some of the problems that we have in Africa is that you have small academies or bigger academies, but they are not registered in the federations like the clubs are. And then they have problems because you have a club that take a player, you don't have nothing to protect you, and they register the player, and the rights are from the one that have the register. That's why I'm thinking, I'm telling from the beginning that it's very, very important that the academies spend some time doing the paperwork to legalize their situation near the federations and have everything okay. Then they can register the players with them. And if the player want to move, they have a word to say, because if you have a register with you, in the time that you have the register, you won't. If you don't want to free the boy, you don't free the boy. That's why it's important. The issue that you are talking, it's normally we put this when you have no register. You have the boy with you. You give him information, you give him education, you give him everything, and then come a club and see the evolution of the boy. They take the boy, they register the boy with them, and you lose everything because you cannot claim anything. That's why it's very, very important that the academy, since the beginning, because the rights you become to have rights to claim after the boy make 12 years old. So after his 12 years old registration, you are counting. If the boy become a professional footballer in the future, prove, you can go to the federation and request the sportive passport, and you prove that you give information and you have your share. If you don't have this registration, you cannot do anything unless take the hand of the player and expect that he will thank you for the time that
they spend with you. I think this is a wonderful advice from you. So what is important now is that every club, every academy should try to register with the federation, which is first thing the academies needs to do, and also to register the player as well in the federation. So with this, they will be able to lay claim on everything they need to lay claim on. I want to thank you, Mr. Pedro. If anybody has any question, you can kindly please drop it on the platform so that Mr. Pedro can answer you. So so far with your experience that you've been to Nigeria, you've been to every part of the world, what way do you think we can improve the grassroots football in Nigeria?
Yeah, most important, as I told you before, you have good players, you have good coaches, you have good people that care about the coaches and care about the players. You need to improve the facilities and so they can improve that they can improve more the skills of the boys. I think that when you if you make good pitches with grass, artificial or not, but with good conditions, of course that you will develop more and more the boys than you develop now with some pitches that you have without conditions to play. Of course that it's different to control a ball in a astroturf, or in a in a pitch with
In a sandy pitch.
in a so this is it's very important to improve the facilities that you have and start since as you are an example, of course, since sooner as possible, educate the boys and give them the right training sessions so they become more skills and with more tactical issues than they have now. When you take a boy that don't have it's like school. When you start the school at 6, it's different if you start the school at 10. Of course,
Yeah.
4 years more. It's with the football is the same. If you start younger, it's the more possibility you have from become a professional football in the future. It's the same. Of course, that you need to find a good coaches, a good persons that help you and guide you during all this period. But I think that you have there in Nigeria. I find a lot of good men that helps try to help the boys take out the streets and give them a path to find a future for them.
Yeah, that's really, really fantastic, Mr. Pedro. Before we go, because we'll be ending the show now, for everybody who is just joining, this is Mr. Pedro from Portugal, a sport player and also a Prono Bono with UEFA. You can kindly please drop your question for him so that he can give an answer to it. So, Mr. Pedro, as it is now, you've actually said a lot. So now, if a team or an academy wants to claim compensation or solidarity, what are the things it needs to provide, being a consul, for him to be able to claim those things? Okay. Sorry. Greetings, everybody. I'm trying to see how. If you have any question, kindly please drop your question so that he can actually answer to it. I think Mr. Abe from Estonia is asking a question. Welcome, Mr. Tony from Sweden. I'm trying to add Mr. Pedro back. Trying to add him back. So he's coming up back. Okay, Mr. Pedro.
Sorry.
Yeah, I see. So we have a question here. So someone asks, what's the benefit of player representative or intermediary in transfer fee or solidarity pay or transfer of players generally?
Yeah, normally who have to pay to the intermediary is the person that contract him. If a player have a representative, he have to pay the service of this intermediary. Normally, the football that you have now, you have is the club that when they are paying a transfer fee, they pay a part of this transfer fee to the intermediary to split or not with the player, to pay the services of finding the club and promoting the player in the period that to conclude the business. But I think that the most benefit that they have is to see someone grow. I think that the most important thing in someone that is helping a footballer is to see how they become someone in the football world. You know that they start with low wages, then they go to a division better, they become better, then they can go another high championship, and this evolution of a person, I think, is the most grateful thing that someone can have on when they help someone to become a professional footballer, and is to see how this person can be better and better and better and help his family, help all the people that help them. I think is the most grateful thing that the intermediary have. Of course, that they are professional, they have to live with this business too, and they have a percentage on the business that it's part of them.
Oh, okay, that's really fantastic from you. I think someone is having a question. The person, his name is Mr. Kelechi. He owns an academy in Inewi, and he said, "Is there any appeal process for players who have been given contracts and yet the Schengen embassy wouldn't issue visas? Can an attorney in Europe appeal this process, as we have a lot of issues with this in Africa?"
Yeah, it's not easy now to you know that you have a lot of persons to want to come to Europe for many reasons, and all the foreigner countries from Europe, they have to analyze all the candidatures that they have to see if they are reunited the cases to give the visa to them to come as a work permit. Of course, that what I advise everything is that you have a good club that invite.
So we're trying to see Mr. Pedro to come back. The network is bad. Trying to see Mr. Pedro to come back. The network is bad. We're trying to see Mr. Pedro. I'm trying to invite him back. The network has been so crappy today. So we're trying to. Okay, he's not yet coming up. I want to use this opportunity to thank everybody who has been watching. So if you actually have any question, kindly drop it. So we have some few minutes before we end the platform today. So I don't know if we're actually enjoying the conversation today. I want us to say one or two things. For me, it has been an interesting one, and I've been able to learn one or two things. And what I've been able to learn most importantly is that if we grassroots teams can get it right, if we can do the necessary things, there is no reason why a team, being a professional team or not, will have an edge over us. What is most important is for we to do what is right. When we do what is right, register with your federation or with you register with your what's it called, then you will have every edge above every other thing. So I'm trying to page you back so that we can end our discussion. So Mr. Pedro is connecting back. Okay,
Sorry.
welcome, Mr. Pedro. I say.
Sorry, I'm telling that the most important thing is that you have a professional contract with you. So when you apply to the visa, you are already have proof that.
Sorry, from the club?
Yeah, from the club that give you the invitation to travel, and a professional club, professional contract that proves that you already have means to stay in Portugal without don't need assistance from the state, Portugal or any other country in Europe. They only do invitations for trials, and most of that is not accepted here in Portugal, because they know that if the player don't go well on the trials, then they stay here and without no job, without no means of subsistence, and that's why they don't want to give visa to everyone. If you have a work contract with you, they will always open the doors to you. And the important of the club, if it's a professional club that is asking you to come, or if it's a club, a small club, of course that is. From the point of view of the state, this have to be balanced with the city.
Okay. So it's very important. Like you talk to the club, you get a contract from the club. With that, it will be easier for you to get visa for your player.
Yes, it's easier. It's easier if you have a contract. If you have only letter of invitation, it's very difficult because you can imagine that you have already a lot of invitations that then the players become they finish on the.
Yeah. Okay, that's really nice. I hope that has answered question of Mr. Kelechi. So someone is asking again, what is the position of a third party in player transfer?
As you know, a third party is not allowed to influence any transfer.
I can hear you. Are you with me?
I'm saying that now is forbidden that third parties difficult.
You said third party is forbidden.
It's very difficult to connection. Now is forbidden to influence third parties on the transfer fee. Uh, third party, you are talking about the athlete himself, or if you are talking about the club that information to the player. Former club from the player is not counted as third party. I don't know if you understand the question that I'm asking, but you remember that in the past, trust funds come and bought by the players' rights, and then they sell it to the different clubs in Europe. Now FIFA forbid this prohibition, and they say that transfers not only can transfer from without.
Oh, okay. I didn't get you properly. I didn't get you properly. But maybe we will try to we're gonna try to have this section again so that we'll have enough time of you. It seems today you're very busy. Well, yeah. So I want to thank you for your time. I think it's almost 6 p.m. so that you can go and do other things you want to do. So thank you very much, Mr. Pedro. So I hope maybe next time when I invite you, you're going to have time so we can have enough discussion with you. All right. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening. Uh, okay, sorry everyone. Today network has been very bad. We'll try as much as possible to see how we're going to invite Mr. Pedro, some other conversation. And I think with all what we've discussed today, everyone, if you're a club owner and everybody, please try to do the right thing. When you do the right thing, there won't be any need for you to be able to being cheated, or maybe any professional club is trying to cheat you. Mr. Pedro is a Prono Bono Counsel in the UEFA, a sport lawyer. So if anybody is having any issue about players transfer and all that, you can always contact him for compensation and solidarity. He can help you out in trying to see how to claim that. But most importantly, let us do the right thing. Fix your document, Register your players in the necessary tournament, especially the ones that is being organized by the federation. So with this, these are proof and documents that you can show anywhere that will be able, or that will make you to lay claims, or whatever claim you think you can get from all the player. It is important that we protect our investment so that we don't just labor invest. I want to wish everybody a wonderful evening. Let us take our time out. Let's stay safe out there, and let's hope football resume back soon. Have a wonderful evening and have a nice time. Thank you, everyone. Good night.